Okay, so today I want to go over how to figure out how many calories you should be eating while you're bulking or cutting, either one. Let's get into it. So first, and if you know this, please feel free to skip over this part, but I want to go over what is bulking and cutting quickly. So let's start with bulking because I brought that one up first. Bulking is when you're trying to be in a muscle building phase and you're trying to put on size. So to do that, you need to put on weight. You need to be eating in what's called a calorie surplus. So to explain what a calorie surplus is, so basically there is a maintenance level of calories that your body needs to maintain your weight. So I'll just use me for example. I am 210 pounds right now. And for me, if I had to estimate, it probably takes about 3,200 calories a day for me to eat, for me to maintain my body weight. Now, why is that? That's because that means I'm probably burning around 3,200 calories throughout the day through exercise and like NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which I'll go into in a little bit later. I'll explain that one deeper. And just like the bodily processes, like it takes calories for your body to like push blood throughout it, like literally like your heart pumping. That does take calories. Thinking, chewing, whatever it is, all that stuff burns calories. So you need to be in a surplus to bulk. So for me right now, I said it was about, I believe I said 3,200. That's probably about what it is at my maintenance right now. If I wanted to bulk, I'd probably eat somewhere in the range of 35 to 3,700 calories a day to start putting on weight. And then I'd put on however many pounds and I would, guess what? Hit maintenance again. So what are we gonna do? Increase from there. Now, cutting on the other hand, let's say we're going back to maintenance. So for me, that's 3,200 calories right now. If I want to cut or lose weight, how am I gonna do that? I'm gonna eat in a deficit. Yes, you guessed it. When I'm eating in a deficit, I'm gonna eat less than 3,200 calories a day. And that is going to burn fat on my body. And if you're not eating enough protein, it's gonna burn some of the muscle on your body too. So estimate, I'd say somewhere between the 200 to 500 calorie range is the deficit you want. And the same thing kind of goes for a bulk. So whatever your maintenance is, a good place to start at least is go 200 to 500 calories away for a cut or a bulk. So from 3,200, if you're cutting, you'd go somewhere between 3,000 to 2,700 calories a day, and you'd be in a nice deficit. Obviously, one just side note, while you're cutting, please make sure to keep your protein intake up, because what that'll do is then you won't just start burning all the muscle in your body. You will maintain the muscle. Okay, so now let's get into the like meat and potatoes of the video. So obviously you're here to try and figure out how many calories you should be eating while you're cutting or bulking and how to figure it out. So there's two main ways that you can figure this out. So the first way is more like in your life, and it's almost like you're just experimenting. You're doing a little trial run, trying to figure out how much calories you actually burn. So how are you going to do this? You're going to track your calories for about 1 week. You could do 2 weeks, you could do more. For me, I always felt like 1 week was fine, but if you want to do more, you can. So you're going to track your calories for 1 week, so 7 days. You're going to track your weight every morning when you wake up before you eat anything. Try and have it be one of the first things you do within the first like 5 to 10 minutes you wake up. And what this is going to do is, at the end of the week, you're going to take all of the calories you ate throughout the week, divided by 7. What does that do? It makes an average. You're going to figure out the average amount of calories you had during that week. And now, as long as your weight stayed about the same, like within like a pound or two throughout the 7 days, what you're going to figure out is that number is now your maintenance calories. You know for sure, because you did it for a week. And if you want to be truly sure, you do it for a second week. And you could see if your weight stayed the same and you had whatever amount of calories throughout the week, whatever that average number is going to be your maintenance calories. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do I track my calories? I don't know how many calories are in all these foods, right? So there is two ways. Obviously, you could do it like handwritten. You could get like a notepad or something you carry around, maybe use the notes app on your phone or whatever, and you could literally write out the amount of calories that are in everything you eat. Like if you go look at any food item that's not from like a restaurant, it'll have the number of calories on it. And a lot of restaurants will even have the amount of calories in each dish on the menu. So you could track it manually like that. There's also an app, and this is obviously not sponsored or anything, but I personally loved this app. and still do use it sometimes, and that's MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal has a free and a paid version. But on the free version, you're able to track your calories and your weight, and you can set up some like goals for yourself in there and some other stuff. And you can put in some recipes, but that's all other stuff. But you can use MyFitnessPal to track your calories. Now, if you got a lot of money or you got someone who can pay for this for you, which is pretty cool, but you can get MyFitnessPal Premium, because I believe this is a premium feature. It used to be a free feature, but it is not anymore. Now this feature, and genuinely it was one of the coolest things, because I was able to use this feature while MyFitnessPal still had it in the free version for like, honestly, the entire time I like really used MyFitnessPal, this was a feature. But the feature was, it would access your camera, and what you could do is you could scan the barcode on an item. So let's say you just had like a loaf of bread, right? You just had some bread. You could scan the barcode on the loaf of bread and it would pull up the macros in the app, and then you could just put it in as you had it for, let's say, like lunch that day with your sandwich. So for me, I love that, because I hated like manually looking up like an item and trying to figure out, oh, is this the right brand? Because different brands have different calories. And bread's honestly a great example, where like there's 40 calorie slices of bread and there's like 140 calorie slices of bread. If you have 2 slices of one of those, that's 80 calories. 2 slices of the 140, that's 280 calories. That's a massive difference. So that was honestly like one of the best features that I wish they still had in the free version, but they don't. Okay, so now we're gonna transition to the second way. Okay, so I'm gonna be looking down at this part because as you see on your screen, there's a macro calculator. So first of all, you're probably figuring out how to find this. To find this macro calculator, if you literally just search up like calorie calculator, for me at least, this was the first one to come up. So now that we know that, this is the macro calculator. This will give you like a rough estimate of how many calories you should be eating. So I'm going to show you guys how to use it quickly, and I'm just going to fill it in for me. So I am 21. I am 6'1", not 6'10". Right now I'm about 210 pounds. Activity. So you may be wondering, like, how do I figure out how much? If you look down at the bottom here, I'm going to highlight it. Hopefully you guys can see that. It explains what exercise, intense exercise, and very intense exercise are. So for activity, I lift like 5 to 6 times a week for somewhere between 45 minutes to like an hour usually. So according to this, that would be considered intense exercise. So I'm looking through this. Very active, because intense exercise 6 to 7 times a week. For me, it's more like 5 to 6, but I'm definitely going to go with that because 3 to 4 is definitely the low end for me. So I'm going to put that in. Now, my goal. What is my goal? For me right now, if I had to think, because I'm not bulking or cutting right now, but I'm, due to injuries, because I can't really lift as much as I'd like, I'm probably more likely to start a cut right now. And I'd probably do a mild weight loss, because I want to be full of nutrients so that my body can heal the best. Because if you're depriving your body of nutrients, you're not going to heal that well. So I'm going to do mild weight loss for this example. So we're going to do that. I'm going to hit calculate. Bam. It shows me my protein, the carbs, fats, sugar, saturated fats, and food energy, or just calories that I can have. And this is for a balanced diet. And if you see up here, I can switch it to a low-fat diet. And if we go between the two, the fat in the balanced diet is 91 grams. But when you go to the low fat, it's only 73. That's dropping it by 20 grams. Now I could look at a low carb diet. I could look at high protein, or you could create your own. Now, all of these things are going to change depending on your goals. So for me, now I know I'd probably want to eat somewhere around 200 grams of protein every day. And also, one thing I like is that it has the ranges. So it shows you on the low end, like a minimum of 95 grams. But if you're trying to build muscle or maintain your muscle, you should be eating at least 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So you can do the math to figure that one out. But I know for me, a good like rule of thumb is for every 100 pounds you weigh, you're going to want to have 70 grams of protein at least. So for me, I'm 210 pounds. I need at least, technically it would be a little over 140, but like I typically go for at least like 170 a day. So then this would be my minimal weight loss thing. So now if I scroll down here though, all my stuff is saved. You can also change the metric units if you're not from the US. or you're more comfortable with those. So let's say now I wanted to do extreme weight loss. I can switch it, hit calculate, and bam, all of it changes again. And it still has all these options. And then let's say I'm done and I come back to this website because I've cut, I'm at like 10% body fat. I'm really lean for someone who's not on stage. And now I'm like, okay, I think I want to start a bulk. Now let's change it to extreme weight gain. Calculate, bam, it's got all of this stuff. So you can just use this. Now, I will say this is great for like a frame of reference. It's great in that aspect, but it's not going to be exact because there are things that this can't take into account. Things such as NEAT, which I said I was going to come back to. What is NEAT? So I said earlier, it's non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So let's break down that word. It's non-exercise activity, then thermogenesis. What would be non-exercise activity? So non-exercise activity is things like walking, but not on like a treadmill. So it'd be walking throughout your daily life. Like if you get up from bed in the morning and walk to the bathroom. No, you're not burning hundreds of calories, but maybe you burn 2 calories. Now, 2 calories does not sound like a lot. But now if you add up everything your body's doing throughout the day, it actually is a good amount. I believe some studies have shown that you can burn up to 2,500 calories a day just through NEAT. So how do you know if you burn a lot of NEAT calories? So there's a couple things to think about for you to estimate because none of us have the equipment to actually test ourselves for how much NEAT calories we burn a day, unless you like really got a lot of money or you know someone. But how do we figure this out? So first of all, think about what type of job you work. If you're someone who works a 9 to 5 at a desk, you're not burning a lot of calories at work. If you're a construction worker, on the other hand, though, you're going to be burning a shit ton of calories at work. You're moving stuff all day and doing all stuff like that. So that is one way. 2, if you're someone who fidgets, fidgeting, oh my gosh, fidgeting is like, you'd be amazed at how many calories you can burn in a day just through fidgeting. So what do I mean by fidgeting? You know that person that at the dinner table or in class or wherever that always has their legs shaking? That's me, by the way. Oh my, they burn so many calories doing that. Or that person that like is like doing like this or whatever. Like they're like banging their fingers on stuff. They just can't sit still. Someone who talks to their hands even, like me, literally I'm doing this right now. Doing stuff like that will burn so many calories. Another one that it's not going to burn a crazy amount of calories, but it definitely will do something, chewing gum. Because your mouth is moving up and down. You're chewing. That is burning calories. Like everything you do burns calories. Plus, there's something called your BMR, your basic metabolic rate. Now, that's just the bodily functions that your body has to do every day. That also burns calories. Like there's so many things that burn calories. But as I said, those are things that can't really be kept track of using like a macro calculator. So that's why I think this is a nice baseline that'll give you a nice idea, but it's definitely not the end all be all. And then, as I said, going back to the beginning, when you're bulking or cutting, you want to be in that surplus or deficit. A good place to start is that 200 to 500 calories range, and you can use like this macro calculator to assist you with that, but you're definitely going to want to adjust from there. If you notice within 2 weeks you're not putting on weight or you're not losing any weight, try and change it. Maybe add an extra 200 calories either way. So if you're bulking, add 200 calories more you're eating a day. If you're cutting, take away 200 calories. Okay, so that is how to figure out how to bulk and cut, basically how many calories you should be eating each day. The end screen, on the end screen, there's going to be 2 videos. I'm going to put the bulking foods video and the cutting foods video. So after watching this, you can go look at some meals that'll help you bulk and cut. All right, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you now are able to properly set yourself up to bulk or cut. Send this to anyone who is struggling with bulking or cutting. Once again, I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you all next Sunday at 5 p.m. Catch you there.